Good morning.
Morning.
Page 6, A1. Tanya. So we're taught in the Braita. Abba Binyamin Omer. Abba Binyamin is the name of one of the sages. Ein tfilah shel adam nishmat, ela bebet hakneset. A person's prayer is heard only if he recites in a synagogue. What do you mean by that? What's the difference between prayer in a synagogue and the prayer elsewhere? So he brings a sentence, a pasuk. He said, Shene'emar, for it states, Lishmoa el arina ve'el hatfilah. So what he tried to say is that there is a difference between, this is from the book of Kings, they said that B'makom rina sham te'et tfilah, for the place that is sung, the synagogue, they should be offered. So a prayer, what's the difference between if a person's praying in a synagogue or he prayed elsewhere? No? Bechavod. Tell them. If a person prays anywhere, it's important and it's good, right? Yes. But the synagogue has a different. The prayer offered a synagogue will certainly be heard in a sense, regardless what it's offered. Which means that if you're davening at home or you're praying in any elsewhere, it's the same, but you cannot consider it the same as your prayer from the sanctity of a house of worship. Which means either you consider that as a communal prayer, the importance of communal prayer, or the importance of a house of worship. But either way, it carries something when you are going to a house of worship versus praying at home. He brought this sentence from the book of Kings, and Rashi here said that in a synagogue the congregation recites Hashem praises in the melodious tones. You have the gathering part that they carry and weight. Amar Ravin.
Amar Ravin bar Rav Ada Amar Rabbi Yitzchak. Ravin bar Rav Ada said in the name of Rabbi Yitzchak, Minayin she'akadosh Baruch Hu matzui bebet hakneset. From where do we know that Hashem, the Holy One, blessed is He, is found in a synagogue? Shene'emar, for it state, Elohim nitzav ba'adat el. God stands in the divine assembly.
Which means?
Whoever
right, so it means that the divine, the Holy One, it's in our language, in our simple human language, that God dwell, the divine providence dwell in the house of worship. King David said it, that he called it a divine assembly. It's a God place that he dwelt, with a house of prayer. So then God is there. Then the Gemarah continue with a series of 4 teaching. Uminayin la'asara.
And from where is it derived that when 10 men pray together, the divine presence is with them? Shene'emar, when it's stated, the same pasuk that God stands in the divine assembly. And from where is it derived that when 3 judges sit in judgment, the divine presence is with them? Shene'emar, when it's stated, V'kirev Elohim mishpot. In the midst of the judges, he shall judge. ומנין לשניים שיושבים ומסכים בתורה ששכינה עמהם. And from where is it derived that when 2 people sit and study Torah together, the divine presence is with them? Shene'emar, for it is stated, אז נדברה יראה השם איש אל רעהו ויקשב השם ויגמר. Then those who fear Hashem spoke to one another, and Hashem listened, etc.
Okay, so here we talk about different level of degradations, meaning the value, the highest value, is praying in a house of worship, praying in a synagogue, and with the quorum of 10. How do you know the importance of quorum of 10? So you use a word from the book of Numbers that said, for how long should I take this Amidah, this assembly? What does that mean, assembly? So it's via negativa. It speaks about the 10 spies. It was 12 spies that Moses sent out to spy out the land of Israel. And he turns with these spies that unfortunately 10 out of 12 return with the negative report. The result of that report, it's people want to go back to Egypt. They wept. They said, we have no hope. We cannot get the promised land. And they lost all the future hope. And as a result, that generation died. It's a very sad story in the book of Numbers. But one of the things we derive from that is the value of Amidah. Amidah meaning congregation. Congregation meaning 10. Because it was 10 out of 12 spies that returned with the evil report. There are some said something interesting, that when you read in the story of Genesis about Abraham and have him some type of negotiation with God not to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah. And he started with 45 and he went down. He went down to number 10. And God said, I'll not destroy those cities for the merit of 10, if there are 10 righteous people. So again, you see the value of the quorum of 10, in that sense, it speaks about the divine, the group of 10, that it's bring the divine providence. So that's the highest. Then, since we talk about numbers, we go also the other value of number, which is 3 judges. Meaning, there are some manners that need court. Can be domestic violence, can be other things that require a court. A court in Jewish law, basic court, refer to 3 judges. So here they bring a sentence from the Tanakh that proves. Where? Because they said in that census that we recite every Tuesday, Bekerev Elohim Mishpot. They said in the book of Tehillim, book of Psalms, that in the midst of judges he shall judge. So he learned from that in our language that judges, meaning that one of the name of God, you know that God has 72 names, this is one of them. So this denote the quorum of 3 judges. It's the Gemarah in Sanhedrin, the early Gemarah in Sanhedrin, the page 3 said, it described from the scripture. So we talked so far about the value of praying in synagogue versus it still carry value, but it's different than praying anywhere. Then the second, we talk about the importance of God dwelling there, and it starts with number 10. Then we go to number 3, when 3 judges sitting and judging, divine is there. Then he speaks about 2 people. What happened with the 2 people that sit in Chavrusa and study? So he said here, we learn from the book of Malachi, who said, then those who fear Hashem spoke to one another and Hashem listened. What does that mean, Hashem listened? So in that sense, God is there. God is part of the, with the conversation, right? And we go further in that sense, they said, what does this contemplate with God's name? Amar Ravashi, חשב אדם לעשות מצווה. אמר רבשי.
רבשי said, חשב אדם לעשות מצווה, ונאנס ולא עשה. Even if a person, he thought of fulfilling a mitzvah, he was planning to fulfill a mitzvah, and he couldn't do it. He gets credit as if he fulfilled it.
Oh, so what does that mean? You thought about something and you get credit? How that work?
That you, God knows everything that you think, every thought of yours. So whenever you think, you're planning to do a mitzvah, and then you couldn't do it, so you get credit as if you've done it, because you did yours and just God did let you do it. So you can get credit for that.
It means for sure you can compare doing a good deed, doing a mitzvah versus thinking about it. But here, planning. But here from this sentence from the book of Malachi, Malachi was the late prophet, used the word ul choshvei shmo, for those who contemplate God's name. It's the idea that, let's say, you go to visit someone in a hospital. Which happens. That's the way it is. You go there, and all of a sudden, the person is released. He's not there. Okay? But you went there. You going to a house of worship, and somehow you miscalculate the time, and it's a time that people don't, you use the watch in different. It's okay. You thought about helping someone in need, and it turns that there's no need. Or you even thought about something, and somebody else already chipped in and helped. So the rabbi is here referring to that sentence by saying that the thought of performing a mitzvah, in a sense for Hashem's name, that you want to do a great mitzvah for God's name, that's already considering it's a
get credit.
Right, get some credit. Why? Because here's the idea. We assume that everyone, in that sense, it's a righteous, which means the soul, the way that Hashem created the soul, it's a good soul, it's a righteous soul. What happened is that we have challenges that sometimes not permitted the soul to do what they wish. But since the soul is pure, the moment the soul thinking about doing good deed, that is already something. You're thinking about doing a mitzvah, you think to do about things. It's not the same as doing it, but it's already get something for that.
Right.